Hello everyone. I, Roma Ludrik, Assistant Professor in Devgiri Institute of Engineering and Management Studies, Aurangabad, would like to welcome you all for the next session on forms and functions of communication. As you all know, in our day-to-day life, we come in contact with most of the people who belong to higher, lower society, category, status, and educational career. We communicate with them in variety of manners and modes. Sometimes we communicate softly and sometimes roughly. Sometimes we communicate in our family as well as outside of the family. When we communicate with mother, father, at the same time we communicate with unknown officer. But one thing is very clear that everywhere we use convey our ideas, emotions, knowledge, etc. but in different way at every turn. In industries, we find lot of posting. At same, we find various types of communication there. People communicate with each other in a number of ways that depend upon the message and its context in which it is being sent. Choice of communication channel and your style of communication also affects communication. So there are a variety of forms of communication. So today in this lecture we are going to study forms and functions of communication. So as I already told you that people communicate with each other in a number of ways. So choice of communication, channel and your style of communicating also affects communication. So there are following types of communication. According to application. First is according to application, and according to application there are two types of communication: internal communication and external communication. Second form is according to nature of communication. So again there are two types according to nature of communication. One is formal communication and second one is informal communication. Third segment is according to direction, and there are two types of communication: horizontal communication and vertical communication. Next one, in vertical communication also we can find out that there are three types of communication that I have not mentioned here, but you have to know: upward communication, downward communication and diagonal communication. Next segment is according to communication channel. So there are two types of communication according to communication channel, that is verbal communication and non-verbal communication. And last one is according to the number of people, and there are four types according to the number of people, that is intrapersonal, interpersonal, group communication and mass communication. So these are the types, or we can say these are the forms of communication. We are going to see one by one. Now first one is internal communication. So internal communication means what? This is one of the application type of communication which take place internally on the basis of its usage. So it is depend upon transmission, and in such communication most of passing information level is of informal type. So internal communication is the function responsible for effective communication. So this is one of the application type of communication which take place internally on the basis of its usage. This communication, as the title of it, denotes internal transmission within industry. So all are internal discussion, transmission. In such communication, most of passing information levels are of informal type. For example, in schools or colleges, we find internal communication among teachers. So one teacher is going to communicate with another teacher. That is also internal communication. So if organization is there, teacher is going to communicate with the student. That is also, or teacher is going to communicate with pune, or student is going to communicate with pune. So this is also internal communication. It may contain upward or downward communication, but our ideas are transferred internally, so it is called internal communication. Again, I would like to give you example that the workers are going to communicate with the management. For example, one organization is there and the workers want to communicate with their management, then also it is called as internal communication. Or another example is if our director sir is giving holiday notice to all the students. This is also internal communication because it is within the organization, and such a communication is called as internal communication. Next one is the external communication. Now, what is external communication? So see, external communication is the very name suggests external relations where the sender transmits his message to the outside organization. For example, if I am the part of Devgiri Institute of Engineering and Management Studies, Aurangabad, and I am going to communicate with other college, with the teachers of other college. So that is what external communication. So channels, here we are going to use channels such as letter, fax, phone, email, or we can use mobile also. So external communication includes the field of PR, media relation and marketing management. Here again I would like to give you one example that the university dispatches circulars to every institute. So this is external communication because there are numerous institutes and they are going to communicate with each other, right? So this is external communication. Only remember that external communication is outside of the organization. The sender transmits his message to the outside organization. One organization is communicating with another organization. Here we can use different channels like letter, fax, phone, STD, pager, mobile, etc. For example, our college communicate with another college. Father or guardian discusses with subject teacher about his guard's progress. One industry demands raw material from outside or another industry. The final product is ordered and provided outside market or to agents. This is also one type of external communication. Okay. Now, according to the nature of communication, there are two types of communication. One is a formal communication and second one is a informal communication. So let us see what is formal communication. Okay. So it is one of the type of communication in which the sender has to follow requisite norms or principles at the times of conveying message in formal way. Therefore, this type of communication are known as types according to organizational experts, that is sender and receiver. So official discipline is strictly maintained in formal communication and the level of authority virtually becomes the lines of communication. Now remember that this is somewhat heavy language for you. I would like to simplify this. See, if suppose you are working in the organization and you want to speak to your manager, what kind of language you will speak? It's not like you are speaking with your mother and father or speaking with your friends or speaking with your relatives. It is just formal communication you are using because you are speaking with the person who is senior to you, right? And there you are using some norms, regulations, respected sir, dear sir, whenever we are mailing someone, whenever we are going to send one email. What kind of language you are using? Formal language, because you know that you are official, you have to use official language. So it is one of the types of communication in which the sender has to follow the norms and regulations while conveying his or her message. Therefore these types of communication are known as formal communication. That is the level of authority virtually becomes the line of communication. Formal communication designs upward, downward and horizontal communication. So if you want to speak with your uh, officer, manager, definitely you have to use official language or formal language in your communication. I think you got my message. Now next one, informal communication. So what is informal communication? So informal communication is, in this communication we are going to be very much closely associate with the together for long hours and develop the close friendship which result into informal relation. Sometimes see, in this communication, suppose you are in the organization and your colleagues are also very close to you people. At that time you are not using formal language, you are not using some norms and regulations or rules. There you are using informal communication. See, while speaking with your mother, you are not speaking like, dear mother or respected mother, please give me one sandwich. This is not the proper language, okay? While speaking with mother, we are using informal language, that give me one sandwich, mama. So this is what informal communication, where we are using, not using norms and regulations, rules and regulations. So informal communication makes casual discussion. So chatting with friends, again informal communication. You are transmitting your thoughts informally, where relations have much and more importance. So we are not going to follow any official discipline here. Okay. So this type of communication is keenly related to the speaker and listener. Okay. They bring close association by working together for long hours and develop their close friendship, which results into informal relation. This informal discussion or transmitting information during various activities in a working hours, this is known as informal communication. In other words, we call it as a grapevine communication also. Now, what is grapevine? So grapevine means a kind of plant with a slender climbing stem on which grapes grow. Like the grapevine, have you seen grapevine plant? If you have seen, then see, grapevine plant grow in communication in multiple direction. It is not having a single direction. It grows in multiple direction. Like that informal communication is. Informal communication is not in the particular discussion direction. It is not going to follow rules and regulation. So it makes casual discussion, transmission of thoughts informally, where relations have much and more importance. So due to associated relations, it does not require any formalities and principles. Simply it takes place in the form of event and becomes effective due to informal type of transmission. For example, we have informal relation with our family members, relatives and co-workers, where formalities has no place. See, two friends have informal way of communication. It is conveyed through telephonic talk, coffee house, room. So this is telephonic talk, rumors are regularly forms of informal communication. Here one thing you note that rumors are going to spread because of only informal communication, and that is why it is a grapevine communication. How rumors spread, you know. So that is also part of informal communication. So now we are going to see types of communication according to direction. And according to direction, first type of communication, that is a horizontal communication. Now horizontal communication takes place when two persons are working at same level in an organization and communicate with each other. So the main objective of horizontal communication are developing network. For example, when the employee of organization is communicating with another employee, it is called as horizontal communication. Remember that it is going to take place when two persons are working at same level. Suppose I am assistant professor. Okay, I am assistant professor and I want to speak with my friend, or I want to speak with my colleague who is also assistant professor. So we are at same level and we want to speak with each other. So that kind of communication is called as horizontal communication. Okay, I would like to give you another example. When college principal is communicating with another college principal, again it is one type of horizontal communication because both are at same place, both are at same level. Okay, he is also principal, sender is also principal, and receiver is also principal. Sender is also assistant professor, receiver is also assistant professor. Sender is also employee, receiver is also employee. So such a kind of communication is called as horizontal communication. Now see, vertical communication. So what is vertical communication? So in this communication, transmission of message takes place in two opposite levels as per situation. Just as the worker in the organization communicating with the manager of his department, so they are not having same place or same position. At the same time, he communicates with his co-worker also. So vertical communication is again classified with in three ways: upward communication, downward communication, and diagonal communication. Okay, so what is upward communication? Okay, so upward communication is what? It is the communication which turns upwards in transaction of message. So this type of communication is becoming more and more popular in organization as traditional forms of communication are becoming less popular. So when a person working at a lower level in an organization and communicates with the person working at a higher level, what they both communicate is called upward communication. So it contains the communication of junior to senior, and this communication includes discipline, mannerism, and also observations of rules and regulation. Let me give you one example. If suppose students are going to speak with the teacher, both are having different level, right? Junior is speaking to senior manager, junior manager is going to speak with senior manager. This is also form of upward communication. So you have to follow all the rules, norms and regulations. Okay, so this kind of communication is also called as formal communication, upward communication. Here we are going to follow official language, and so this is a one type of formal communication. So worker is going to speak with the supervisor, supervisor is going to speak with the manager. So such a communication is called upward communication. Now next one is downward communication. So what is downward communication? So this type of communication turns downward in the transmission process. When person working at higher level in an organization and communicating with the person working at lower level, this constitutes downward communication. Now see, it contains the communication of senior to junior. This communication is fully opposite to upward communication. See, both are different. In upward communication, we have seen that student is going to speak with principal or student is going to speak with teacher. Upward communication. Downward communication, exactly opposite. Teacher will speak with student. Principal is going to speak with student. Principal is going to speak with peon. Okay, manager is going to speak with supervisor, supervisor is going to speak with worker. So when a senior writes to his junior, it is used to convey orders, job, instruction, notice, memos, warning. So this communication is, again you know that it is a fully opposite to upward communication. So both upward and downward communication have clear ideas of direction, tone, style, and even language also. So one thing is there, one third type is diagonal communication. So diagonal communication, in this communication, a person working in one organization and communicating with another at the same time writes a letter, reminder, send fax or talk on telephone, arrange meeting, seminar or discussion. So sometimes the person makes internal as well as external communication. So this type of communication contain various organizations keep in touch with each other through various types of communication. So it may be verbal or non-verbal. Most of these communication are supposed to be written and oral. Okay. So now we are moving towards intrapersonal and interpersonal communication, that is according to now see what is intrapersonal communication. So intrapersonal communication, this takes with place within the individual. So sender is there, receiver is there, and see, intrapersonal communication is nothing but you are communicating with only you. That is the intrapersonal communication. Now what is intrapersonal? You know soliloquy. So the person is going to speak with himself only. So that is what intrapersonal communication. So he is going to speak with himself only. That is intrapersonal communication. Now we uh, sometime in a day or in a night we are going to speak with ourselves only. Okay, we are going to share some thoughts with ourselves. So that is nothing but intrapersonal communication. Okay, now next one is a interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication, you know that we are going to communicate with so many people. uh, so with other person we are going to speak. This is nothing but interpersonal communication. So interpersonal communication is the process of people exchanging ideas, feelings and thoughts through verbal and non-verbal messages. So it is usually involve face to face interaction because both the spoken and body language are used to communicate. Interpretation, communication. Remember that communication is a usually a two-way process. So there are two persons very much necessary, sender and receiver, and receiver gives feedback. So in interpersonal communication there are two persons. Okay, it is not that we are going to speak with ourselves. We are going to speak ourselves, that is intrapersonal, and when we are going to speak with other person, that is a interpersonal communication. Now I am speaking with you people, this is what interpersonal communication. Okay, next one is a mass communication. Now what is mass communication? See, mass communication, here the message is communicated to large number of people, that is called as mass communication. Now see, communication whichever is done through mass media like books. See, if one book, take an example of Shamchi Ai, okay, from Sane Guruji. So there Sane Guruji is going to speak with number of audience, number of number of readers. So this is what mass communication through newspaper. Take an example of Times of India, or take an example of Lokmat. Okay, they are going to speak, or they are expressing their thoughts, or the editor is going to express his thoughts with number of people, and such communication is called as mass communication. Okay, so communicate, for this kind of communication we require mediator to transmit information. Next one is group communication. Have you gone through group discussion process? If you have gone through group discussion process, you will find out what is group communication. Even in college katta, there is a katta in your college, and you are going to speak, you are going there in a group and you are going to speak on one particular matter. Okay, so the number of people, may it is a small group or large group, that doesn't matter, but you are speaking in front of group, so it is not just one person to one person, it is about several peoples are there and you are speaking in a group, so it is called as group communication. Now next one is according to mode of communication. So there are again two types, that is a verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So verbal communication means what? Verbal communication is refers to the forms of communication in which message is transmitted verbally. So communication is done by word, mouth and a piece of writing. Objective of every communication is to have people understood what we are trying to convey. Now see, what kind of communication we are conveying, I am conveying to you, that is a verbal communication, because words I am using. So if you are using words, it means verbal communication. Simply remember that it is the basic type of communication which is continuously and to some high extent used in daily life. It is also called as oral communication, where we are using oral communication. So verbal communication contains the transmission of words and sentences. They may be oral or written in the form. So there are two types of again verbal communication. So it can be written or it can be spoken words are used. So it includes face-to-face conversation, speech, etc., influenced by pitch, volume, speed and clarity of speaking. So what is important? Whatever message you are giving, that should be very much clear and it should be concise. So this is importance in oral communication, or we can say verbal communication. So written communication, there are again two types of verbal communication, oral communication and written communication. So when we are going to write words, signs and symbols we are using. So in email we are going to influence our language. Okay, so this is what verbal communication. I already told you it is of two types. Verbal is again divided into two types, that is oral and written. So oral communication means what? These are the spoken words, okay, where we are using face to face communication. So through mechanical and electronic devices also we are conveying oral communication. So verbal or oral communication is one of the most important type of communication. In this type there is nothing in writing. The examples of verbal communication are numerous. So oral orders, face to face discussions, telephonic talk, lectures, interviews, counseling, public speeches, audio visual aids, movies, etc. fall in this group. So most often more than one medium is required to be employed to make the communication effective. So face to face communication combines the oral form with the visual. So sometimes we are using graphs, sometimes we are using visuals, sometimes we are using uh, posters. So through that also we are going to speak. So skill in oral communication is an important for life, in face to face interaction, in group discussion also, in debate. A person does not communicate through words alone. One's whole personality, his general bearing, facial expression, you know, gestures, etc., are involved in the oral communication. Okay, so for example, when someone is asked to address a gathering, he walks straight and stands at ease, keeping his hands on one side and tries to feel relaxed. When a microphone is to be used, one must keep oneself 8 to 10 inches away from it to ensure the proper transmission of voice. So you should know about mechanical devices, electronic devices while using that. Okay, so in oral communication it is very important that you should have eye contact with your audience. Voice modulation should be there, so variation in the pitch, tempo of your voice is essential, very much essential to transmit a message effectively. Even pronunciation of the word, the speed of delivery, words means words like you see, I mean, do you understand. So like that, such if you are using such utterances, it hamper the smooth flow of the speech. So you have to be very clear about voice modulation, eye contact, because if you are, see, a good speaker is always first looks at the audience and takes a pause before beginning his speech. So it is very important to have eye contact with your audience. It means that you are confident. Next one, audience awareness is very much important. So, and you must have your presentation plan. So the art of speaking is the fruit of constant efforts. So there is no definite formula to be adopted to become an effective speaker. So this is about oral communication. Only remember that while it is all about spoken words, face to face communication is there, and we can use mechanical and electronic devices for oral communication. Now we are going towards advantages of oral communication. Now what are the advantages of oral communication? See, it is a time saving. Okay, so how it is a time saving? So oral communication is a time saving device. While a letter, if you are sending a letter which is dictated and typed, entered in the diary, put in the envelope and carried to the person addressed, will take a long time. So oral transmission of the same message makes the communication immediately effective. So that is why many skillful managers cut down paperwork and save time by calling up their juniors or walking up to their superiors and taking up the issue that they feel needs to immediate redressal. So in this way, advantage of oral communication is time saving. Second advantage is accurate message is going to convey. So how we are going to convey accurate message? So see, whatever you are going to convey message, whatever your message is, you are going to speak in front of people, so there is no miscommunication, there is no adding or subtracting in that. So accurate message will be received by the receiver. And then third important advantage of oral communication is immediate feedback. Now how immediate feedback? So the greatest advantage of oral communication is that it provides immediate feedback and clarification. So if people listening to the speaker, they can ask questions, make comments, they can add the information and so on. So both the speaker and the listener by turn can enter into a kind of short dialogue and make the whole communication event purposeful. And this is why uh, because of this gives immediate feedback. Next one, it develops relationship also. Now oral communication builds a healthy climate in the organization by bringing the superior and the subordinate together and also building close informal relations among employees. Now suppose I have a problem in my organization. If I am going to speak with my manager and my manager is comes with the solution, definitely we will develop our relationship. Okay, so this gives the subordinate a feeling of importance and the superior gets a better understanding of his mind. So, informal or planned meetings can greatly contribute to the understanding of problems. Okay, so in this way, these are the advantages of communication. It is a time saving, it gives accurate message, it gives immediate feedback, and it also develops the relationship. Now, effective tools, it is a effective tool of group communication. Again, it is a economical one. Oral communication is economical both in terms of money and time. It saves the money spent on stationery in organization where manager insist on every instruction and message being in writing. It allows we can measure effectiveness immediately, and it is the only way out during an emergency. So these are the advantages of oral communication. Now, if there are some advantages, there may be disadvantages of oral communication. So oral communication has some disadvantages as they are as below. First one is no record is there. So second one is no legal validity is there, low memory is there, and misunderstanding is there. I would like to explain one by one. So see, there is no documentary proof of oral communication, so its impact is temporary. Human memory being what it is, oral messages cannot be retained for a long time. You know our memory, okay? And some things we are going to forget. And because of that, there is a no record. It means that they must be acted upon immediately. So they cannot be found in record books and we cannot refer back to them, making it as serious limitation. Next one, there is a no legal validity. So in the absence of a taped or written record, oral messages do not have any legal validity. Okay. Low memory, because of low memory we are not going to remember each and everything. And sometime because of oral communication there is a chance of misunderstanding. Okay. So if suppose unsuitable long messages are there, difficulty in understanding is there. Okay. So distortion in passing the messages are there, there would be misunderstanding to get the message. Okay. So these are the disadvantages of oral communication, because it is not effective when the target group is spread out. In case the target receivers of the message are spread out to large geographical area, it is not possible to convey each and everything orally. Okay, we have to convey it through email or through written communication we have to use. So these are the disadvantages of oral communication. Now we are going to see second type in verbal communication, that is a written communication. Now what is written communication? Through written communication you should have command over language. So it is the communication which is mostly treated as authentic in comparison to the oral communication. So the communication in which the message is conveyed in the written format is called written communication. For example, letter, circular, notice, minutes, books, newspaper, magazines, manuals, all these are written communication. So it is more effective and understandable for the readers. Nowadays communication is possible through a variety of media. So the earliest forms of printed newspaper are easily accessible to common interest. So you, for a written communication, command over language is necessary, appropriate selection of appropriate words are necessary, and logical sequence and handwriting should be proper. Okay. So these are the parts of written communication. So writer should know correct ways to write letters of alphabets. He should use proper mean of writing. So he should generate text and make meaning by creating the pictures. While writing message, he should consider the quality and literacy of the reader. This is very important. You should consider quality and literacy of the people, because written communication is an essential part of the organizational life. Okay. So through so many things we are going to write. So methods of written communication in an organization include letter, circular, report, quotation, contract, order, agenda, manuals. So these are the written forms of written communication. Okay. So it is a most formal type of communication, and it is also used for documentation, and it is used for also circulating the information, and it has a time factor. Now what are the advantages of written communication? Why written communication is necessary? See, first it gives a permanent record. Now written communication is permanent. The growth of an organization is promoted to a large extent by reference to its old well-maintained record and minutes of meeting. Next one, it is a legal document. So, maintenance of proper record, letter, report and memos build up legal defenses of the organization. And that is why an organization is like a living organization. And like any organism, even an organization is vulnerable to offense both from within and outside. Organization usually have their legal advisors who cannot be any help unless proper records are maintained. Okay. Next one, it can be referred again and again. If suppose I am giving you notes, you can refer again and again that notes for your exam. So this is what we can refer it again and again. And lengthy messages, we can write it perfectly, so it can be understood by the receiver. So suitable in distant communication also, one of the advantage. It permits substitution and revision also. So these are the advantages of written communication. Now let us see disadvantages of written communication. So first one, it is a costly process. So written communication is a costly process in terms of stationery and the number of people involved in typing and sending out letters. Second one, it is a time consuming. So unlike oral communication, written communication takes time to reach the target. So both encoding and transmission of the message takes time, resulting in delays. So it is a time consuming process. Postal delays cause a lot of time to be elapsed between dispatch of written messages and its receipt by the target. Next one, literate individual. So if suppose your receiver is not literate, so this is not possible to give him feedback or to understand the message, and feedback is delayed. So written communication is mostly handicapped by its inability to get immediate feedback. The receiver of the message takes his time to understand and responds to the message. So these are the so no immediate clarification is there. So in written communication, it has another disadvantage. If the receiver of a written message at a distance seeks more clarification, he cannot have it. So it is very important that immediate clarification is not possible in exchange of written communication. Next, verbal communication. We are having two types, oral and written communication. Now we are going towards non-verbal communication. Now what is non-verbal communication? So written signs and symbols are used to communicate. Without words, non-verbal clues are giving, and body language, facial expressions are used. So in simpler word, I would like to tell you, non-verbal communication is usually understood as the process of sending and receiving wordless message. Okay? So there we are not using any kind of words. So non-verbal communication through only sound, smell, touch, taste, tone of voice, person's dress, movement. So this is what non-verbal communication. So such communication without the use of words is normally simple and limited. So these wordless messages can be communicated through gestures, body language or postures. So facial expression, eye contact, clothing, hairstyle, architecture, symbols, emotions, voice quality are all the part of non-verbal communication. So non-verbal communication can occur through any sensory channel. It comes in many forms at the same time. For example, a person's dress, tone of voice, attitude, movement. So the first scientific study of non-verbal communication was Charles Darwin's book, The Expression of the Emotion in Man and Animals, okay, which was written in 1872. So it is all about body language. So there is a language beyond verbal, linguistic and visual, which can be expressive and loaded with denotive and it has come to be known as body language. Okay, so non-verbal language can be defined as or can be classified as your body language, or we can say kinesis, paralanguage, proxemics, that is a physical space, skin sensitivity, haptics, dress. But only remember that I am going to explain in next unit all the terms, codes, haptics, chronemics, artifacts, oculesics. But now only remember that non-verbal communication is all about body language, and body language includes your gestures, posture, facial expression, eye contact, dress and appearance, and silence. Okay, now what do you mean by gestures? So, in certain cases, gestures are used extensively when a person does not know the local language. For example, deaf and dumb person, they are depend upon the gestures for communication. Okay, so your enthusiasm, attitude, emotion, you can explain through gesture. So, a gesture like shaking hand, it shows what? It shows friendship, warmth, holding of hands, patting on shoulder. So these gestures are also important. Next one, postures. So postures is what? Each movement or posture of the body has expressive and defensive function. The way in which we sit or stand or walk in, or but no body movement itself has any exact movement meaning. So just as spoken words assigned by gesture, posture is also taken together with other verbal and non-verbal cues. For example, lowering of the head indicates the end of a statement, or raising of the head indicates the end of a question. A large number of postural changes indicates end point in interaction. For example, the end of thought or the end of the statement. Suppose you are holding your hands or crossing your hands, it means that you are not confident, so you are defensive. Next one is facial expression. So facial expressions are mostly emotional and exhibit attitudes. So a smile expresses friendliness and affection. Raising eyebrows conveys surprise. Okay. So all that various parts of human body, particularly eyes, are used for communicating information. So actually, our all body parts are going to speak. So these are the facial expressions. Next one, eye contact. You know the importance of eye contact. Through eye contact we are going to communicate with the people. Through our eyes we are expressing our anger, through our eyes we are expressing our love, through our eyes we are going to reveal our confidence. Even dress and appearance plays very important role. Okay, and next one, your silence also speaks, because one proverb is there, speech is silver but silence is golden. It means silence speaks louder than the word. Suppose you are not ready to do any work, you keep mum. Okay, if your mother is going to ask you any question and you don't want to answer, you keep mum, and your silence speaks that you don't want to give answer. Okay, so all these body language is going to speak. So what are the advantage of non-verbal communication? So any message can be sent non-verbally. Non-verbal methods are having quick perception by receiver. They are compact data, can reflect a lot. So these are the advantages of non-verbal communication. Now we are going to see functions of communication. And what are the functions of communication? As all you know, first function of communication is motivation. So manager use communication to motivate workers to achieve peak performance. For example, suppose uh, by communicating to salespeople that they will receive a 10% bonus if they reach their annual sales goal. So it helps to company reach its overall sales goal, no? So they are giving motivation. Next one, control is there. Okay, so a company uses communication as a way to maintain control over employees and their work environment. Next one, interaction. Communication allows employee to interact with customer and each other. We are going to interact with the help of communication. Next one, we are going to provide information. So information is dispersed throughout an organization through written and verbal communication. So Webinar allows a company to conduct a meeting over the internet with employees or customer who cannot attend in person. So it is going to provide information, and last but not least, it is going to provide feedback, because communication is only get completed when the receiver gives feedback and sender receives the feedback. Then and then communication cycle gets completed. So communication is going to provide you feedback. So these are the important functions of communication: motivation, control, interaction, providing information, and providing feedback. So for effective communication, remember that gather your thoughts, choose your words, voice modulation, body language, listen, concentrate, eye contact and postures are very much necessary, and simple or familiar language, and you have to add some questioning skills. So, thank you so much for your active participation. Thank you so much. I hope you have understood the concept of forms and functions of communication. Thank you.